Man, the Arizona Cardinals in the span of a couple of weeks have gone from this team's going to be a lot of fun. The NFC is going to go through the desert to what the hell was that yesterday?
They are who we thought they were. Yeah.
It's
Which
weird.
is amazing. It's
Yeah.
that quote comes full circle in this instance, right?
Yeah.
Like Denny Green with the Cardinals.
With the Cards. Yeah, shouts out
and
to
and
Denny
this
Green.
was our concern like the whole year was could they sustain this? Could they keep this going? And it's what 2 in a row now. And I know it was a short week, but I just they didn't even look competitive. I mean, they got physically outmatched, beat up again. We saw it versus LA, and now we're seeing it versus Detroit. And I think the defense is more is what I'm concerned by. Jared Goff looked good, man. I mean, he did, and they physically beat them up again. I almost get the feeling like, is this team going to get a label of being like a finesse team? Because I'm starting to get the feeling of that a little bit with at least the way they've looked the past 2 weeks.
When you look at these teams that are starting to emerge and separate themselves, they're playing physical football. It's so funny because as you look at how the rules change, the style of offenses, what positions are the importance is placed on, you start to realize how far away from the origins of smash mouth football that the game has vacated. But when you see teams come out and they play that style of football, you're seeing San Fran play a smash mouth style of football. You're seeing the Steelers and the Ravens and the Bills and Tennessee and the Colts, especially the Colts. I mean, you saw smash mouth football with New Orleans last night against Tampa Bay. You're seeing smash mouth football for some really, really, some expecting, some not expecting. But the teams that you see it from are the teams that are winning. Those are the teams that are winning games. I haven't seen a team that has played physical. Look at Dallas. I haven't seen a team that plays physical smash mouth football that in that game they did not win the game. It's not like finesse overcame or the skill and precision of it overcame the brute strength and brutality of the game. It's not happening. You're not seeing it. So and that's why I say I think Kansas City is a dangerous team because they are withstanding smash mouth football and they're learning and they're adapting and they're adjusting to the style of smash mouth football, and that might have been what they were missing.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, you watch, like you made the point that it didn't seem competitive. Like, I think, and I'm not trying to out anybody here on the show, but somebody on our show chain tried to make the comment that, the Lions are going to blow this game. And then right afterwards, there was a pick. I don't know if this is.
Jeez.
That is very. I mean, did you just throw Lee under the bus?
No, I'm not.
Jeez.
I didn't name anybody. I didn't name Lee DeLapp in that moment.
No, don't try to play it off.
So people won't know that.
Jeez.
Listen, I'm not trying. Last thing I'm going to do is out Lee DeLapp. All right, that's the last thing I'm going to do. Is out.
I was
out
just
going to
say there's a bond. There's a brotherhood there.
Yeah.
Lee, I was pretty sure
we
it was
couldn't have
Lee who
him.
said that. I could be wrong.
Listen, I'm not the guy out. Lee, you understand? I'm not outing you here, right? For making that comment
We just
yesterday.
can't have locker room talk with Jonas anymore.
What do you mean?
No.
Like I don't understand. Like
no
I
more
just,
locker room talk.
I mean, I just want to, Lee. I want to make that clear. I wasn't outing you. I didn't say your name. Brady did.
you
in that
ever?
moment.
Hey, you
I
ever?
gotta own it.
Hey,
All right.
did y'all have 5-0 when you played Brady?
Oh, yeah.
And so when you had the 5-0 dudes in the locker room, once you were excommunicated from the trust circle. Everybody be talking. Everybody be like, hey,
5-0,
yeah, 5-0. Everybody look, it'd be radio silence.
Yep.
Then look, then he walks through. Look, then he walks through. Everybody's just looking. You're doing your thing. And then he walks out the room, and it's like,
We're back to it. It went from 5-0, Popo, block is hot. Like there was all sorts of little terms people would throw out there just so they wouldn't catch on. And then everything got quiet. Or everyone went to the training room, shower somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
So back to the Arizona Cardinals here. You saw them a couple of weeks in a row now. I think you guys made the point after Monday Night Football. Could this have been a preview of what
Fool's gold.
Why is this late in the season that they sort of struggle? What is it? Is it the wear and tear? Does Kyler Murray look like the same guy he was early in the season? Because this is now 3 straight years that we've seen them struggle late in the season when they've got off to either a hot start or they felt like they had some rhythm going and they just fall apart down the stretch.
I mean, it's tough to put your finger on it. Like, Cliff Kingsbury is a good coach. Maybe it was just the kiss of death from Bill Belichick. After they had their little kind of flirting or complimentary match, whatever you want to call it, it's been all downhill since then. Like, maybe it was the kiss of death from Bill Belichick talking about maybe Cliff Kingsbury should be coach of the year. I don't know. Maybe that was a bad omen. But, I mean, look, clearly Hopkins would have helped. I mean, you look at the interception by Amani Oruwariye, it seemed like Kyler was frustrated that AJ Green didn't come back downhill. You could see him kind of visibly like yelling, like, come back. And that kind of stuff just doesn't happen when that ball is being targeted to Hopkins, right? Like, they're on the same page. They don't have those issues. We've seen other instances this year where AJ Green and him haven't been on the same page. Remember the interception in the end zone earlier?
Cost them a game.
Like, it cost them a game. And I'm not going to say that particular interception versus Detroit cost them this game because it really wasn't that close. But it's another instance of, hey, man, when Hopkins isn't there, they don't have that reliable number one target to throw to. And this is an offense that doesn't adapt and all of a sudden is going to run the football 35 times a game, 40 times. Like, they don't do that. And so that's where I think you got to be concerned with, and that's why I kind of said more finesse, because that's what this offense is. It's not an offense that's going to be – like, they could talk about being multiple and doing different things. They don't do nearly close to as much as other teams as far as changing their personnels, changing their schemes as much as you can in the NFL week to week to force your opponent to do something you don't want to do. So that's the concern, and that's where I still feel like when you're watching this team, like, there's always that missing element. And no matter what their record is, I just think even this year they'll probably still get in the postseason, even though now they were in the top spot for a minute.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at them like, all right, are they even going to win the division? And if they don't win the division, are they getting in as a wild card? I mean, they got 10 wins. They should get in with 10 or 11 wins, I would think. But again, I just it's frustrating to watch it because you see the potential, but they just can't seem to close out games.
And look, they're the 4 seed right now. Let's be honest about this, though. There is the threat that they could find themselves on one of those lower seeds because they've got Indianapolis up next, who's one of the hotter teams in the NFL right now. And I've been telling
Jonathan
LeVar,
Taylor, dude.
Brady and I have been telling LeVar about Indianapolis for weeks now.
Yeah,
we can't get him on the bandwagon.
Seriously.
Well, I want to. Well, we'll talk about that later.
But so you got Indianapolis this week. Then you're at Dallas. That could be a problem, even though they play well on the road. Unfortunately, they didn't yesterday. And then you've got Seattle to finish the season.
It's a tough road to
I
hoe.
don't think it's outside the realm of possibility this team
They
could be
lose
10-7, or even all 3.
You know what's interesting is we talked about why Pittsburgh didn't make it work with John Connor in Arizona's last game. And then John Connor comes out.
Bro, I love how you're calling him John Connor.
Yeah. What is it? James John,
Connor.
I love John Connor better.
Amazing,
I like
so
John
funny.
Connor better. Anyway,
I
James,
love when
I'm
you
sorry.
do that.
Yeah, Terminator. Listen, but he only gets 39 yards in last night's game, yesterday's game. And then on top of that, Chase Edmonds only got, 53 yards. So you're talking about 2 guys combined that had less than 100 yards on the day. And you got to listen, I think if what Kyler Murray brings to the table is to work, you have to have somewhat of a running attack so that play actions can work, so that Kyler escaping can actually work. Because if they're only focusing in on Kyler in terms of who they need to watch and who they need to make sure that they put a perimeter around, then play actions aren't going to work. I don't know if people really know this about DeAndre Hopkins. He runs crisp routes, and he's got super strong hands. He's not a burner.
No.
He's not going to create the separation where you just throw the ball up and it's an open throw. You got to have a trust for DeAndre Hopkins, and you got to have a rhythm with him because he's not going to be running wide open unless you're playing against a team that just is breaking down in coverages. So now that's where A.J. Green becomes such an important part of and component of this offense, because if he can do what he needs to do, then that takes all of the coverage and all of the attention that DeAndre is going to get, and it creates more balance. If you don't have that balance and A.J. isn't doing what he needs to do, it really, really places this team in a very compromising position on the offensive side of the ball.
I just think there's enough talent there still without DeAndre Hopkins. You should be able to beat the Lions. I mean, look, Rondale Moore.
Conventional wisdom says that, but the Lions are competitive. They just don't finish games.
They are 9-5 against the spread.
Damn right
year.
they are.
Yeah,
that's all that counts.
5. Yeah, well,
it is.
Some people.
Listen, it is. That's all that counts. I mean. And now all of a sudden they've been fooling around and they're out of the number one draft pick. Now Jacksonville holds that. Jacksonville, the team that got better when they fired Urban Meyer, they are now the team projected to draft first. So maybe Detroit should just dial it back a little bit. Rest some guys and get that number one pick. Depending on where they would go. Are they going to go quarterback number one? Is a quarterback the first pick in this year's draft?
No.
Well, no. Jacksonville's the team that has the pick right now.
But if Detroit gets it, does Detroit take a quarterback? Is there a quarterback worth taking number one this year overall?
Well, it all depends on how they view Jared Goff, who I think has played well. Like, whatever you want to say, he's played well considering the circumstances. I'd trade back and try to build up more. I think you stay with Goff for another year. Again, I've said that all along. I think Kenny Pickett will be the first quarterback taken. But I'm not sure teams see it as, hey, he's that can't-miss guy. We got to take number one overall. It's a big-time investment. And I think there's other spots that the Lions feel like they could get better.